Well, what's up, guys? Rick from DFS On Demand here with a preview for the Valero Texas Open. Last week at the RBC Heritage, fun little golf tournament. Lots of guys in the mix. Cool little course, very unique on tour. Siwoo Kim gets into a playoff. I didn't have much of him, but I know a lot of the DFS golf community did. He ends up losing the playoff. It had me all like, why I oughta. But good to see him make a deep run. Maybe he'll get hot. I doubt it. But let's turn our attention to this week. It's the Valero Texas Open. It's been played at TPC San Antonio since 2010, I believe. Here's the cheat sheet for this week. If you're new, all of this is available on dfsondemand.com. All right. Sergio leads the way as far as salary goes here. He's 12-1 to win this thing. He's $12,000. This is the first time he's played the event since something like 2010, I want to say. So we don't have a great little course history here. I'm not as thrilled on Sergio as maybe some others are this week. This is a course where I'd prefer a little bit of course history at. I just think $12,000 is too much. We're going to get a couple of better options down here, I think. I'll have my fair share of them, but usually I'm thrilled to roster the most expensive guy on the slate, but there's some pretty good options down here below. Matt Kuchar being one of them. So I think it's an interesting dynamic when you have a guy like Kuchar who, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but he's been pretty chalky the last couple weeks. Especially last week in that field that wasn't very deep. You know, he finishes 23rd. Obviously respectable, but when a player is really chalky and he kind of like disappoints, what a lot of players will do, or casual owners will do, is they'll just like drop off of Matt Kuchar this week for whatever reason. They'll just go somewhere else. It's like, he was chalk and he only gave me a 23rd. Let me move on. So I'm wondering how that's going to impact his ownership this week. I think he's a great play. A bunch of top 15s here. I can go to his course history real quick while I have it up. Yeah, so here it is. So 1, 2, 3 top 15s in the last 6 starts. Another 22nd place finish there. So 4 top 22s. Pretty good stretch in 6 starts here. Hasn't missed a cut since 2008, and that was on a different course. Charlie Hoffman, we're going to continue to roster Charlie Hoffman basically until we're proven otherwise. A winner a few years ago, played really well at the Masters, made a charge on the weekend, which was nice to see. I think Charlie Hoffman, he might have made the cut on the number or just inside the number. Finishes 23rd last week, charged up the leaderboard on Saturday. I was really impressed by that. He makes a lot of birdies, so Charlie Hoffman's going to continue to be in our rosters until I tell you otherwise. And then there's a couple of really interesting names here. So I don't think we need to talk about all of them, but Ryan Moore at 12,200 is interesting to say the least. I mean, I guess he's got 3 straight basically top 25s. Not a particular great course horse. I can pull up his full history here. Yeah, he's only played it twice, an 8th and an 18th. I'm not really sure why he's $10,200. Luke List at $10,000, much better recent form. Doesn't have really any great course history here, but Luke List, to me, the RBC last week was Luke List's tournament to lose. Say that 5 times fast. He's 1 over on Sunday and misses the playoff by 1 round or 1 shot. Like, I don't know what the final round scoring average was, but it was pretty low. Ton of guys going pretty low under par. Luke List goes shoots 1 over and misses the playoff by a shot. Like, could have very easily been in the playoff. Could have very easily just shot 1 under and won the thing outright. So a little disappointed in that, but I mean, he's right there. So I think what you're going to get in Ryan Moore, I don't know how interesting he is, but he's a guy who's over $10,000 who is going to have, I'm assuming, a very low ownership. Sandwiched in between Luke List and Charlie Hoffman here is probably going to do wonders for him if you want to get him at a low number. All right, rapid fire. Adam Scott, He's won this in the past. Now, let's just confirm this was at TPC San Antonio. I believe it was. Yeah, so he won it in 2010. Then he defended his title in 2011 with a 23rd place finish and hasn't played here since. Pretty crazy. But other than that, pretty decent showing over his last 4 starts. A handful of top 20s. We've talked about this before. I think his game is coming around. Kevin Chappell, when we get to the tour stats section of this, his stats really do fit the mold here, which makes sense because he won it last year and he's had good success. I'm probably lukewarm on him compared to the rest of the industry. I know a lot of guys are just like dying to get him in rosters again. I'm more of a recent form guy. Someone who comes in missing 2 straight cuts doesn't interest me as much as others, just because he is a defending champion. Billy Horschel, on the other hand, seems to be trending in the right direction here. So he's knocked on the door of a victory 2 out of the last 3 years. Horrible start to his season, but then finally showed something with a 5th place last week at the RBC. I think he is a decent back at 9,100. All right, we got to keep it moving here. Brendan Steele, I'm going to talk about a lot coming up. Chesson Hadley seems to be a bit underpriced. You can see he's 30-1, which is better than Siwoo Kim, Ali, and he's cheaper than both of them. He's had we've played him a lot during especially the swing season and now getting back into it. Here's your course horse. Here's the guy that everyone's going to be touting. It's Ryan Palmer, 3 straight top 6 finishes here. Again, I prefer someone who's coming in playing a little bit hotter than 4 missed cuts in his last 5 starts and a 76th place thrown in there. So, pretty brutal. Bo Hostler, another young guy who seems to be, again, knocking at the door. 2 straight top 15 finishes. Let's see who else we can find here. Streelman, I think, fits the mold. We're looking for, well, we'll get to it in the tour stats. We're looking for guys who are solid off the tee and can throw some darts. Obviously, that probably works everywhere, but we'll talk more about those stats. Here we go. Julian Surry, 8th at the Houston Open. He's 50-1. Against his peers, that's a pretty good price at $7,600. Scott Piercy, again underpriced against his peers. 2 straight top 25s. We rostered him quite a bit last week. Found some success there. Let's move this along to the course history section. So let's see what we can find. I'm going to rule out, I'm just going to get rid of 2008 because that's a different course. So we'll just do 2010 and on. Charlie Hoffman dominates it. Aaron Baddeley, that would be a hell of a back if you wanted to back him. There was a time last year he was like the first round leader every single week. Like if golf tournaments were only one day, Aaron Baddeley would have dominated last year. He would have been Tiger Woods. Let's see who else we have here that's got at least some decent. Here's Kuchar, right? Showed him. Brendan Steele. So we'll start talking about him right now. Brendan Steele is going to get a lot of my dollars this week, which is rare for a guy that doesn't have a lot of great form coming in. But past champion here, has racked up 3 top 10s and 4 top 13s since 2011. And when we flip over to the tour stats here, this is where he's really going to jump off the page. So again, if you're new, this is a correlation that I run, which is, or it's a regression model to find the correlation between all the PGA Tour stats and DraftKings scoring over the last 8 years. As we go through these, so these are the stats that popped off as being the most important. Strokes gained off the tee, very important. Birdie or better, putts over 10 feet, par 5 scoring, and strokes gained approach. So there are, outside of like birdie or better and putts over 10 feet, those other 3 stats are fairly unique. We don't see them every single week. So it's nice to see that popping up every now and then. So let's do strokes gained off the tee. Brendan Steele, number 1 in the field. Okay, 8,900 bucks. Who else pops off? Kevin Chappell, last year's champion. Luke List knocking at the door for a win. Okay, I think these three guys are going to have a lot of my money. Who else? Ryan Palmer fits here. So when we go through this, you're going to see Ryan Palmer's name a lot. Again, I do not like the fact that he's missed so many cuts coming into this, but it's no surprise he's had success here if our regression model is somewhat accurate, which I think it is. Kevin Streelman pops off here. Siwoo Kim, Adam Scott. Okay. Billy Horschel's up here in the top 20 or so. Birdie or better, Brendan Steele, number 2. Okay. His name's going to pop up a lot. Chesson Hadley's in here, who we saw was underpriced. Luke List, Kevin Chappell again. Zach Johnson, past champion. Oh, let's do this. Past champion, but it was not at this course. Let's do Zach Johnson because I'm gonna like him. I'm gonna like him as well. So he won it in 2010, or I'm sorry, he won it in 2008. Not at TPC San Antonio, but since then he does have 3 top 30s, a 6th place finish. You know, hasn't been terrible. Playing decent recently. I don't know where he's at on this list. Here he is. I just passed him. Right here. Has made a lot of cuts coming in. Only $8,000. He's going to have a lot of my spend. Who else is on here? Ollie pops up again. Anybody else? Piercy's on here a couple times. So putts over 10 feet. This is my coloring is backwards on this. The higher the number, the better. It's the percentage of putts that a player makes over 10 feet. So Wes Bryan's number 1. This to me is not necessarily a great stat. Guys run hot, they run cold. You know, if I'm always putting from 11 feet, I'm obviously going to make more putts than guys who are always putting from 21 feet. So it's not a great stat, but it did correlate this week. So I'm showing it to you, but I don't usually put a lot of emphasis on this one just because it's not a great statistic in my mind. Par 5 scoring is good though. So here we go. So let's do par 5 scoring again. Kokrak, who shows up a handful of times on here. Pat Perez, notorious birdie maker. Ryan Palmer again. So like some of these guys are popping up here. Okay, then you get the Steele, Hoffman list. Like these guys are gonna have all my dollars. So as much as I kind of said I liked, as I said, as much as I said I liked Matt Kuchar earlier, when you get to this point and you're like, he doesn't pop up anywhere on here. He's like 40th in every stat category. You try to figure out what's noise, right? And I'll rather spend my dollars on List and Hoffman and Chappell at the top than Matt Kuchar. So maybe I won't own anyone over $11,000, which means Kuchar or Sergio. I'll probably have small shares of them, but much less than the field. And then strokes gained approach was pretty important as well. And here's where Piercy's at. Here's where Chesson Hadley's at. Here's where Adam Scott's at. Zach Johnson. Chris Kirk is somewhat interesting. Again, another guy who hasn't played well, but his course history out here I thought was pretty good. Here we go. Yeah, a little bit. Last 2 out of the last 3 years, a 13th and an 8th, so not bad there. And anybody else? I mean, Chappell, no surprise he won this thing. Just constantly popping up on it. Okay, so let's hop back to the cheat sheet here, and we'll end this the way we always do, which is with the odds. So usually DraftKings pricing correlates with the Las Vegas odds. We're looking for inefficiencies. Charlie Hoffman, the same odds to win as Matt Kuchar, $500 less. Obviously, I was already interested in Charlie Hoffman. Here you go. Brendan Steele, the same odds to win as Billy Horschel, Adam Scott, and Kevin Chappell. He's $700 cheaper than Adam Scott. Same odds to win. Hadley is the cheapest in the 30-1 range. Jamie Lovemark, the cheapest in the 40-1 range. Here's 50-1. Bill Haas, Julian's here. Oh, Scott Piercy, 7,400. 80 to 1. Grayson Murray, he makes a lot of birdies. 100 to 1. Pretty fair. Just a few $100 each way. Pretty fair after that. Okay, there you go. That's the preview for this week. Oh, quick editor's note. I will likely be out next week, having a little surgery done. Nothing serious. Probably just going to miss a week, but it's the Zurich, so it's the team event. I don't even know if DraftKings is going to have something. If they do, I'll be all over it on painkillers because that's going to be awesome. But I don't know if they're going to have something. But I will probably not have a video next week. Let me know what you think of this, who you're going to play this week, what we're going to do at the top with the expensive guys, what we're going to do with Ryan Moore being priced over $10,000, which is kind of crazy. You can tweet me. It's at DFS On Demand or leave a comment below. Talk to you guys soon. See ya.